Hello, everyone. I'm Major Garrett in Washington tonight on America Decides. There's lots of talking about trade. Happened again today. President Trump sat down with the Prime Minister of Norway to discuss, among other topics, potential tariffs. Here's a big question, though, and it regards China. Is the administration talking to China? Well, that depends.
It doesn't matter who they is. We may reveal it later, but they had meetings this morning, and we've been meeting with China.
The royal they means who? The Chinese have steadfastly denied any formal talks with the Trump administration on trade. We'll get back to that in a minute. President Trump on social media today said, "Vladimir, stop." That was his message to the Russian leader after drone and missile strikes in Kyiv inflicted the greatest civilian damage in that capital city in more than 3 years. 24 hours earlier, well, it was Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky that was the target of President Trump's ire, if momentarily only, accusing him, that is to say Zelensky, of doing something that might undermine or possibly derail negotiations toward a peace deal, which the president described as, quote, so close. Start tonight with Fin Gómez here with me at the desk. We'll get to that China trade and Russia-Ukraine, but there's some very important poll numbers that I think we should pay attention to as we get closer to next week's first 100-day marking of the Trump administration. Bad Fox numbers out today.
Bad Fox numbers, bad Pew numbers, and earlier than that, bad Reuters numbers. According to a New York Times average of polling, the president's approval rating has sunk to about 45%. It's down from 52% just 1 week after he took office, Major. And yeah, to that Fox poll, it shows him 11 points underwater, and that's in the most recent survey. And yes, just a few days before that milestone of 100 days, Major, we are seeing that the administration, according to these surveys, is in trouble. On what issue, Major, you might ask?
I would ask.
One of those key issues that we've heard a lot about during the 2024 cycle, and that's on the economy. If you look at in this Fox poll, if you look at just at tariffs and inflation on the president's handling of those two important issues, nearly 60% disapprove of the president's handling of those issues.
And on social media, the president attacked the Fox polls. That's typical.
Yes.
But these Fox numbers are not out of balance with the other polls you mentioned. Reuters, Pew,
yeah.
Economist YouGov, all of them show a downward trajectory, and especially on inflation, economics, or the economy and tariffs.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Major. I do note that the market was up today. We did see that. Absolutely, the last 2 days it has been, mostly because there's been this sort of shift in tone from the White House on tariffs, on their interactions with other countries, including China, as you know. However, according to these polls, that Pew again saying 55% of U.S. adults say they are not confident Trump can make good decisions about economic policy.
And you were at this desk about a week and a half ago talking about someone within the Treasury Department, I believe a deputy secretary, suggesting there were low-level conversations with the Chinese about the future of the tariffs. President keeps implying that there are talks. The Chinese keep saying, no, we are not talking. We are not discussing this.
Absolutely. The Chinese have said that they're adamant that they need a process here. They're adamant that there's certain steps before this formula really begins. It's a discordant message that we're seeing between the Trump administration and what the Chinese are saying currently. We did hear from Kevin Hassett, who was one of the top economic advisors to the president just a little while ago, who said that the president's right, that there are discussions between the Chinese and the U.S. It's still pretty vague about what exactly those types of discussions are. He also said, this is interesting, Major, he also said that, as we do know, the president's going to Rome this weekend for the Pope's funeral. But he said that they have set up some bilateral meetings on the sidelines of this. So it's interesting.
That might achieve something.
Maybe with the EU, maybe some other
Lots
partners.
of atmospheric discussion, but hard to get to hard details on that. And another matter, the president said in the Oval Office today that there's a lot of pressure that he's applying to Russia. Wouldn't go into it. The Ukrainians keep saying, what pressure are you talking about? It seems like all the rhetoric comes at us, even when the Russians keep attacking us.
Yeah, and there's, after the barrage of attacks on Kyiv, we saw that. We saw him. He definitely did step up the rhetoric, at least on his Truth Social post, as you mentioned, the Vladimir stop. That's, I think, significant. But yes, I mean, what we have not seen, if you're defining this pressure by any sort of metric, when it comes to a policy-focused pressure, we haven't really seen that yet. Tough talk, yes. Again, where are the results?
And the outlines of a potential peace deal appear to be largely, if they are the ones that actually emerge, there have been reports about this, and we'll get into this later in the show,
Sure.
to be sizably favoring Russia and not Ukraine. Fin Gómez, I appreciate you coming in. Thanks so much.